Hello, my name is Chris Campbell, and we welcome you to another installment of One-on-One. Our guest for today is City of Southfield Parks and Recreation Director Terry Fields. Welcome to One-on-One, Terry.
Thanks, Chris. I'm glad to be here.
Well, let's get right into it. You've got some amazing initiatives going on in the Parks and Recreation Department, and one of the main things that you're working on is the master plan, the 5-year master plan. Tell us a little bit about it. Let's just get basically an initial feel for what that involves.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris. The master plan is a process that we are in right now, and it's an opportunity for all of our residents, our businesses, our faith-based community, as well as all the folks that are advocates and partners here in the city of Southfield to give their voice to what they want to see in their Parks and Recreation Department here in the next 5 years. It could, pardon me, it could be facility-based, it could be program-based. Really, it is a roadmap of the direction that our residents want to go as far as their Parks and Recreation services.
Now, what's very impressive to me about this plan is that it's not necessarily bureaucracy driven, it's resident driven. Explain that aspect of the plan.
Absolutely. I'm really glad that you asked that. The 5-year master plan is really a guideline that is used by the Department of Natural Resources. It's a plan that is resident driven. So by that, we're going to do surveys, we're doing some open houses, and we're giving every opportunity that we can to give our residents a voice in the process. After that, we assimilate all the information that our community provided. And once that plan is complete, it's in the public's eye for a month, the month of December. And then we bring that to the Planning Commission, and then we bring it before Council, and then we submit it to the DNR for their review and approval. And once that plan is approved, that allows us the ability to apply for grants through the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. So it really puts us in a place of being able to capitalize on available funding in the future. So our city has benefited from many of those grants. We had a project at Pebble Creek where we replaced the playground. We put a rubberized playing surface in there. We had another grant at Inglenook Park where we provided a gazebo area, new fencing, a new pathway, a new sidewalk over at Inglenook. And then we had the Beechwoods grant. We had a brand new patio and an ADA path installed with some resting areas with benches. So our city has really benefited from the grants through the Department of Natural Resources. And updating this 5-year plan allows us to continue to apply for those grants in the future.
Wonderful. Now, this is a comprehensive master plan, so it no doubt includes parks and recreation programs, events, staffing, venues. What else goes into the plan? Kind of give us various aspects of it.
Sure. Well, what goes into the plan are really goals and objectives for the next 5 years. And those goals and objectives are created through the feedback that we receive. I talked earlier about a survey. There's a survey that folks can access online through our City of Southfield website and then our Parks and Recreation website. We have hard copies at all of our facilities, so if folks aren't comfortable navigating on the online version, you certainly can do a hard copy. And then we have open houses that are scheduled for October 27th and October 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. in our Southfield Pavilion. And what that allows us to do, Chris, is ask a lot of questions. You say what goes into the plan. Goals and objectives, what we want to see as far as our programming goes. Do we want more special events? Do we want music events? Would we like to have fitness out in our parks? All of us have been going through a very difficult time in navigating the pandemic and finding ways to be able to stay healthy and physically and mentally healthy through the pandemic. And we all have taken advantage of outdoor spaces in that regard. So I would imagine that really what's going to resonate through this plan are what folks want to see in their outdoor spaces, what they'd like to see in their parks. Would they like more walking paths? Would people like fitness equipment in our parks? Do we want an outdoor pool that's accessible? Do we want an indoor pool that we can use year round? Would we like a dog park? All of those wishes are going to be able to be captured in that 5-year plan. And really it gets down to Parks and Recreation is about quality of life. It's about experiences. And so what this master plan allows our residents to do is to tell us how we can enhance their experiences. Do they want something brand new? Do they want something improved? Do we want to go in an entirely different direction and wish for something and to have something that we've never had before? So no boundaries, none whatsoever. We really love for kids to come out, our youth to come out during those open houses. We'd love to see our seniors be able to continue to provide feedback and information on what they want to see from their department for the next 5 years.
Yes, beautiful. Let's talk a bit about that, because you've been touching on it in some of your answers, the audiences and the demographics that you're looking to target. Just looking at the PowerPoint printout of this, faith-based community, seniors, youth and families, business community, visitors, general public. You're going for a wide range of community demographics and having an input into this. How important is it to have input from all ranges of the community?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question. We've got a lot of users. We've got a lot of users who have a different idea of what recreation is. So for some, a walk through the park is beautiful recreation for them. It's a little bit more passive. It's got some activity. For others, they want some real heavy-duty fitness programs, or they would like some opportunity to be able to experience some different cultural programs. So when we reach out to a myriad of different audiences, we know that each and every person has got a different personality, a different take on what they think recreation is, or what recreation is for them. We don't want to decide here in our leisure industry, we don't want to decide what you want. We want you to tell us what you'd like to see. So when we can reach out to seniors, when we can reach out to young families coming into Southfield, or families who have been here and live close to a park and have lived close to a park for a long time and can imagine what they'd like to see in that park, this is an opportunity to tell us those thoughts.
Yes. You've been having an all hands on deck sort of scenario with this in terms of the department and having and holding this community outreach. What are some positive feedback that you've gotten thus far leading into some of the other forums and things that will be happening over the next few months? Well,
early on, so we've met with a community stakeholders group. Those are folks, police and fire, some of our faith-based folks, some of our neighborhoods. A lot of what's resonating, a common thread of what's really impactful for the entire community is safety. So we've been hearing some early conversations and some early statements about how important it is that we continue to think about our walking paths and our sight lines from parking lots to parks, lighting our parks when possible. Freeway Park is a very popular park in our city. And we recently, here in the last couple of years, replaced all the lights there with LED lights. So people want to be in our parks, but they want to feel safe when they're in our parks too. So there's definitely the conversation about continuing to think about walking paths, continue to make our parks safe by our signage, and then sight lines, and always people are appreciating the maintenance that goes into keeping our parks clean and safe. So that's one of the common threads that has resonated. I will be honest with you, One of the requests that was heard at last night's stakeholder meeting was a pool, an indoor pool. And an even bigger request was a facility that captures an indoor pool that our folks can use year round, that we have classrooms all in one space, we have senior opportunities, we have birthday rental space, we have a walking track. So the Parks and Recreation building, if you will, or a recreation center here on campus was a conversation that really resonated to the top last night. So without putting any notions out there, I'm just giving you some examples of what people have been saying to this point. It certainly doesn't capture all the comments that folks are gathering and folks are giving us as far as those surveys go. It's really all over the gamut. We've got folks who want to see a skate park. We've got folks who want to have their playground equipment replaced in their playground. So we've really got a great menu already at this early point of folks who are giving us their thoughts and telling us what they think.
Awesome. Now, this plan will go a long way into greatly enhancing your ability to go after grants to help subsidize a lot of the wonderful and amazing programs in P&R. And that seems to be a microcosm of where we're at in this day and age in terms of going after monies and so forth and so on. Many municipalities have found that they've had to go after various grants and grant programs to obtain the dollars needed to really fully able to subsidize those programs that they present to the community. Kind of talk a little bit about that, how important it is to get and garner these finances in order to achieve what the department needs to achieve.
Absolutely. A lot of folks think that the 5-year plan is a plan that everything happens in year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Not so. The master plan is just what we call it. It is a roadmap, and it helps guide us into looking at those grant opportunities and matching them up with the wishes of our residents. What we always want to talk about when we have this master plan completed is if we were to choose to try and accomplish one of the goals in the master plan. When we do that, every step of the way is going to be brought before the community. So we have a process in place with our city that whenever we would even apply for a grant, we bring that before council. And it allows us to accept a grant. And in order to do that, you have to have a plan, right? And that plan needs to be able to resonate with our audience, which are our residents. So it really is a team approach in matching the grant opportunities to the wishes of our residents and then bringing that to the public forum so that folks can have comment to it. This isn't a plan that is in stone. This is a concept plan that tells us what direction folks want us to go. And then step by step, we definitely make decisions as a department, and I definitely make decisions as a Parks and Recreation director. But really, we serve the public. And so making those goals and desires happen is part of our charge, but doing that alongside of administration and alongside of our residents is a cohesiveness that we really try and make happen along the way.
Yes. What's really impressive about this plan is that it really empowers every stakeholder in terms of residents. It gives them a voice. Talk about how important it is to really empower stakeholders, giving them a voice and having them feel like they have a seat at the table.
Well, I think that all of us want to be heard. And I think that sometimes what we are concerned about is making sure that people have the opportunity and know about the opportunity to be heard. So this being a bit of a long process in that folks can continue to talk to us and take those surveys up until November 10th. Right now, as I spoke earlier, we've got an open house October 27th and 28th. Not everyone wants to come out right now and be with other people. So we're trying to make it accessible to everyone. And the reason we do that, Chris, is just what you talked about. People want to be heard. When you are talking about what you want, oftentimes what comes up is what you don't want, right? So I want lights in my park. I don't want to be afraid. I don't want to feel unsafe. And so when you're making statements of what you want, it allows you to have conversations about what you want to see going forward. And sometimes that's sharing what people might think is a negative message. We want to hear the messaging, right? We want to hear the messaging because whether it is perceived as negative or critical thinking, there's a difference, right? If we want critical thinking, it helps make us better as a city. It helps make us better as a department. It helps make us better as a community. So in order for us to improve, we have to hear about what you would want from your city, from your department. So I think having conversations, I think doing that in a safe place, I think doing that with respect on everyone's end, and we've experienced that to this point, I think is a really good combination, and I think it helps all of us navigate toward the future in the best way that we possibly can. We do as much as we can with what we know right now. We want to know more. We want to know what the next 5 years looks like for you.
Absolutely. So, and you've been talking about this all throughout our interview, but let's key in on some of these review and engagement dates that are coming up. So there will be an open house on October 27th and 28th. Mm-hmm. Just talk about briefly what you hope our residents can take away from that.
Well, our open house is going to be here at the Civic Center in the Pavilion. It does start at 6 o'clock, and what it allows people to do is to come in and engage at your comfort level. So once again, we'll have some areas of interest, whether it be parks, whether it be programs, whether it be facilities. We'll have some folks that are there that can talk to you, ask you questions, or we have opportunities for you to write down your comments, for you to engage with our consultants who are working with us, our Parks and Recreation team. Or we'll have staff there where you can ask some questions about programs that are happening right now, or conversations about next summer. You'd be surprised when you bring people together that want to talk about Parks and Recreation. They're pretty much a passionate group, but it also allows us to be able to share information that is current. So that open house allows you to engage at the level that you feel most comfortable. You can have conversation and open dialogue objectively with some folks. We want to hear, it's human nature to give a reason why something hasn't happened. It's human nature to explain a path from the past, right? But really, our goal in this is to be quiet and listen. So it's going to be a time where you can complete your thoughts. It can be a time where you ask questions. It's going to be a safe place for you to dream, right? All about your city and what you want to do, the kinds of activities that you want to participate in. So I think it's a little bit of everything, Chris, but mostly it's a way for you to give your feedback at whatever level you feel comfortable. You can come and stay for 20 minutes, or you can come and stay for an hour. We're going to be there for a couple hours. Our folks are going to be there for a couple hours, and I think that you'll be glad that you participated.
Now, there will be a very meticulous and methodical community review period from December 1st to December 31st. So briefly talk about that and just how you will take all this feedback and how you'll basically go through that and cull through it so that every morsel is considered.
Sure. I appreciate you asking that because it is a process for sure. We have a group that we're working with that are going to be taking the information. So when I say taking the information, all the feedback that we receive from any venue, whether it's a stakeholders meeting or it's an open house or it's your surveys that you're filling out as residents. Once November 10th comes, we stop taking that feedback formally for the master plan and we begin to write. So the group that is working with us, OHM Advisors, and then we have a wonderful community engagement company that's working with OHM called Woods and Watts Effect, begin to take all of that information and write the master plan, goals and objectives, inventory, how many parks we have, what amenities we have in those parks, and then begin to take your information that you want to see and prioritize given all the feedback that they receive. Then that document is complete and out on December 1st for the public to view. So from December 1st through the 31st, the public can see that document in written form, and then it goes before the Planning Commission and then goes to council after that. So there will be plenty of time for the community to actually see all of their work, all of their input in a formal document. And as you stated early on in this conversation, and I've echoed that, this is a plan that is resident driven. And so really they'll see the fruits of all of their labor and all of their comments, and you'll see that in the document.
Wonderful. And those public hearings, those planning commission reviews, parks and commission and board review, all that's going to be happening in January. And then the submission of the grants to the DNR, the end of January, January 27th.
Correct.
So at that point, what do you look to, or what is your hope and feeling at that point when it's ready for submission?
Relief. It's a lot of hard work for everyone. But at that point in time, that document will be reviewed. We will have seen it so many times that when it then goes to the DNR, and the DNR reviews that document, and we will be waiting anxiously to hear from them. The last 5-year plan expires in February, so we submit our new plan in January so that we can, meet that February deadline. And so once that plan is in, we wait to hear from the DNR on their review. At times, there won't be any changes. Sometimes they will contact us with perhaps a correction here or there. But for the most part, once that document is submitted, we wait anxiously to hear from them.
All right, wonderful. Well, Terry, this is a very ambitious but very just magnificent initiative, and I think it's going to impact the city of Southfield in very positive ways in the years to come. Now, for people that may have questions about it, who can they call? Where can they go to on social media to sort of keep track on the progress of the master plan and the community stakeholder input and review?
Thank you. That's a great question. So they can call our Parks and Recreation office, talk to myself, talk to really any of our staff. But if you want to talk to me, you'd like to talk to Russell Malberg, who is our Recreation Operations Manager. He'll be able to give you that information. Stephanie Kaiser in our Parks and Recreation Department. Stephanie oversees all of our marketing and communications for Parks and Recreation. She will be updating our Facebook page. She'll be updating our website. Michael Mannion, who's our PR for the city, will be putting out press releases and Facebook, Twitter, Instagram information out on a pretty regular basis. We've got our electronic signboards that will remind you of your opportunities to participate. And we just look forward to being able to answer your questions, to help you find ways to have your voice heard, whether, again, it be that survey or those open houses. And we'd love to hear from you.
All right, wonderful. Well, we can't wait to talk to you sometime next year, and anytime you want to come through and update us on the amazing and wonderful programs and initiatives that are going on in Parks and Recreation, that chair has your name on it.
Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate it. You've been great. Thank you.
All right. Now, you can view this episode by going to Southfield City Cable Channel 15 or online at Southfield Multimedia Services on both YouTube and Facebook. For One-on-One, my name is Chris Campbell. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.